Thank you, Mr Speaker. Labor supports this bill. We voted for it at the first reading and we took part in the discussions at Select Committee, and we're happy to support it at this second reading. I want to acknowledge the bill's sponsor, Eric Roy, the member for Invercargill. It's really, I think, an essential part of the great New Zealand democratic tradition. In spite of the modern reforms of MMP, the great New Zealand democratic tradition is about local MPs and local electorates. Now, not everyone might agree with me, but actually that is a very important part of our history. And this bill, sir, reflects the real desires and aspirations of the people of Stewart Island and Rakiura. Rakiura to you, sir. And they have been served well by their MP in bringing, patiently shepherding this bill through the House. And Eric Roy deserves, I think, congratulations for that. I also want to acknowledge my old Select Committee, sir, chaired by the able Chris Ockenvold, Local Government and Environment, a very collegial and productive committee that saw this bill through the necessary scrutiny. I do note that there has been a bit of disgruntlement about how long it's taken to get this bill back to the House. And I read, sir, in the Southland Times that a number of local politicians have been somewhat critical of the delays. Stewart Island Ward Councillor Bruce Ford, Mayor Frana Cardno and Chief Executive David Adamson are all on the record as criticising the delays. In fact, one of them said, I've spent 30 years on the damn thing. Well, Eric Roy, I think, brought it to the House a couple of years ago. So I do note, sir, that in the Southland Times it records one Eric Roy also criticising the lengthy delays facing this report. So what does the bill do? It creates a mechanism for the Southland District Council to levy visitors to the island of Stewart Island for the purposes of building up a fund that can be used to support the construction of necessary infrastructure. So public toilets, wharves, other infrastructure that are necessary for visitors to the island. And we've all heard that Stewart Island has, I think, a resident population of between 300 and 400 people. Tiny little community in one of our most pristine and most precious parts of New Zealand, which is visited by in excess of 35, maybe 36,000 visitors a year. And as Mr Roy pointed out, there's a growing cruise ship trade. And it's necessary soon. I think all members of the Select Committee agreed that this was a reasonable and practical request that was worthy of our support. I read, sir, that ships carrying up to 1,400 passengers are now visiting Stewart Island, and that's great for the local economy, which is very reliant on the tourist trade. And the owner of the Kiwi French crêperie, Britt Moore, told the Southland Times that one day last summer she served 400 cups of coffee in 4 hours to cruise ship visitors. Well, after all that coffee being drunk, sir, it's very obvious to me that good public toilets are going to be needed around Half Moon Bay for the visiting tourists. I want to touch on some of the issues that we dealt with at Select Committee. One of them was the purpose section. We redrafted, or had the officials redraft the purpose section to make it absolutely clear that the purpose of this ability to levy a tax on visitors to the island was for the support of necessary tourist infrastructure on the island. So that makes it crystal clear that that's what the money has to be spent on. We spent a lot of time on the definition of visitors, and I think it came up with a pretty good solution that excludes people who live on the island, excludes Māori with an interest in Māori land on the island, excludes people who are working on the vessels that are taking people to the island, and excludes dependents of ratepayers on the island. And I think that the way that the definition we came up with, and I'm sure we'll go through this in more detail in the committee stages, but I believe, sir, we came up with a pretty good solution for the definitional issues of the visitor. Included amongst the amendments were the definition of an approved operator, which allows the people who are bringing these cruise ships into Stewart Island. It allows the flexibility for the council to negotiate with approved operators of these cruise ships so that they can levy the fee through the operator and not having to have a financial transaction with every one of those cruise ship passengers. I think probably one of the most interesting debates, and to be frank, it was never really resolved, was around the issue of whether this law has any kind of precedent value. And that was the main objection that we raised at the first reading, was whether or not what Eric Roy came to this house and asked us to consider would in fact kind of complicate the law regarding the funding of tourism infrastructure around our country, and whether or not it would have unintended consequences that we needed to think about. And we pondered it long and hard. I'm not sure we actually came up with any definitive answers, and I know there were some concerns by officials that there was in fact a precedent being set here. And Mr. Royce pointed out that although this is the first arrangement of its kind in New Zealand, there are plenty of other such arrangements overseas. And I know a number of people have raised the fact that tourism operators in Milford Sound have a kind of levy arrangement, but as we were advised, it's a voluntary arrangement that they have. Others raise the idea of the fact that it's people paying, having to pay departure tax at a local airport, and it's clearly to be distinguished from that kind of arrangement, because it's a departure tax is really a tax for the use of a certain piece of infrastructure, whereas what this bill does is give a local authority the power to levy a tax on any visitor to a certain defined territory. And as far as I'm aware, that is not found in the law anywhere else, sir. So it is a precedent. But what I would say, sir, is that it's our duty as lawmakers to address the needs and concerns of the communities that we represent up and down this country. And we have to find solutions that are practical, that are effective, that are proportionate and affordable. And I think those are the tests. And in my view, having listened to the submissions, having listened to the advice of the officials at the Select Committee, that this bill passes all those tests. And I hope, sir, that it will satisfy the people of Stewart Island in their desire to have access to a fund that will deliver the kind of infrastructure that they want to provide and that we all want to see provided. A number of people have said that have used the idea that $5 a visitor might be the kind of levy that would end up being imposed. And I heard the member say that he hasn't said that, he doesn't know what it will be, it'll need to be properly worked out.
It won't be more than that.
Well, for argument's sake, the member says it won't be more than that. For argument's sake, if it was $5,000, then we're looking at an income stream of about $150,000 a year, and I think that would provide the basis, sir. $150,000 a year would provide the basis for a pretty reasonable program of investment in local infrastructure on the island. But back to the question about whether this is a precedent or not, I would say, sir, that it is a precedent. There's no doubt about that. The real issue is it a good precedent or a bad precedent? And only time will tell. But I'm satisfied for one, sir, and my Labor colleagues are, that this is a good bill, it's worth supporting, and we hope that it meets the needs of the people of Rakiura.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker.
I call Dr. Cam Calder.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to rise and acknowledge